Join Bob Kolazarik as he welcomes a diverse array of guests to the enlightening talk show, Greetings from the Ashram. In each episode, Bob sits down with experts and practitioners from the world of complementary healing modalities, spirituality, and holistic wellness to delve into the transformative power of these practices. From ancient traditions to cutting-edge therapies, Greetings from the Ashram offers viewers an insightful and uplifting journey into the realms of mind, body, and spirit. So now, please welcome your host, Bob Kolazarik.
Hello, everyone. Namaste and welcome. I am Bob Kolazarik, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Thank you all for spending an hour every Friday evening with me. Or if you're catching the replay from the archives, we thank you. Either way, I really appreciate the support of your show, of the show. Tonight, my guest is Dr. Christopher No. Dr. Chris No thought his career path was all set. He wanted to study, be a doctor, become a surgeon, everything pretty straightforward, right? But all that changed when he learned about pranic healing and life energy. He learned the hard way how hard it would be to start a business from scratch. He started his medical practice coming straight out of medical training in 2012 with no prior business experience. And with the teachings of pranic healing, he was able to navigate the ups and downs that come with being a business owner. And also he had a realization that other pranic healers struggle with the same obstacles. He hopes to shorten the learning curve so that more pranic healers can have a foundation for a self-sustaining business, giving them freedom to serve others and to make the world a better place. That's our goal. He observed that their success inspired others to use the principles of pranic healing in their lives. And surprisingly, individuals with other skill sets were able to use these business strategies to help their businesses. Dr. Chris No is a board-certified medical doctor and osteopathic physician in the United States. He began his pranic healing training in 2003 under Master Chokaksui, who's the founder of Pranic Healing and Arhatic Yoga, and he also trained under Master Stephen Coe, and he became a certified pranic healing instructor in 2010. Welcome to the show, Dr. Chris.
Hi, Bob. Thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
No, it's great to have you here. I'm super excited. You know, I love your philosophy about helping people to shorten the learning curve so they can serve other people and inspire others to find the value in pranic healing and to use it in their lives. And as you know, that's a big purpose of this show, is to bring awareness to pranic healing and other complementary healing modalities to the mainstream. So, you know, we have a shared mission, you know, and it's wonderful to find that like-minded person. And I am so grateful for you coming on the show. You know, your expertise as a physician and a pranic healer helps my mission and the mission of the show in illustrating that the healing community is not a woo-woo community. It's high-level people, you know, I've had other, you know, Dr. Jason Wan, you know, PhDs, you know, just so many professional people in the business and of pranic healing. And you've been at it for over
20 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm going into my 21st soon. So yeah, it's been a little bit of time.
And it's a testimonial of the efficacy of pranic healing, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it for so long. I mean, you're a very intelligent man. You're a physician. You would not be delving into that if it wasn't really working. But let's back up 20 years, okay? How did you all get started in this? I mean, you mentioned something to me about a painful case of sciatica. Was that for you or a patient or?
No, I wanted to bring this to people's attention because this is actually a client of mine. And I didn't really appreciate the potency of pranic healing. This was only maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And, you know, I've gone through everything, but the tying health together is on multiple levels. And so this case of sciatica, I got a referral, and they had 8 out of 10 pain. Sciatica is basically radiating pain down from basically the butt region or hip region all the way into the leg. And it's very difficult to do things. And
I've had that before, maybe not to that degree, but it is highly uncomfortable, I assure you.
Right. And so this person couldn't even get up from a chair. They every time they stood up from a chair or got up, it was 8 out of 10 pain. It took 2 minutes for the pain to calm down. And they're an avid hiker and walker and all these things, and it was really impacting their life. So they reached out to me. I worked on them. and I worked on them intensely for a week, and nothing happened. But because of Pranic Healing, I was able to scan or feel the energy, and it was more emotional in nature. And she had not told me about this, and so
So
we
you
got.
picked up on it by scanning at first,
Mhm.
and then yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was in one of the energy centers that houses like repressed emotions. And so talked to her a little bit, and she had been repressing something or hadn't talked about something that was troubling her for many, many months or years. And she had not told anyone about this, not even the family. And so I got, okay, like she's like, that wouldn't have an effect, would it? And I said, well, it might. So let's focus on that. Within a week, her pain went almost away, and she was able to start hiking 2 miles. And the interesting thing about this was she had an MRI that showed herniated disc at that lower part of the spine. And she was scheduled for an injection with a follow-up MRI, but they canceled the injection because when she came in for the injection, the doctor had looked at the MRI and said, all your discs are normal. There's no reason to inject anymore.
That is amazing, and I do learn, I went through the certified pranic psychotherapy, right? So I went through that, but you do learn that a lot of these physical problems could have an emotional basis for them. It's really quite,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And so when I talk to clients, when I talk to patients in the past, I always just like to break it down simply. As you said, the energy thing is not necessarily woo woo. You just have to understand. And so I like to show something called energetic management when I talk with them, because I've had a lot of people that are skeptical about energy and aren't sure about it. So I
Yeah,
believe.
we have a slide for that, or a
Mhm.
visual. So Chris
Yep.
can throw that up there for a second.
So this is an energy management, and this is basically how I explain things. I can go into a little more detail quickly about this, but basically we're just looking at what is the rate of deterioration or the significance of a disease, and what's the rate of healing. And so I can go into this a little quicker and deeper, and it really helped a lot of my skeptical clients get into understanding all this. So let me go show you here. So if you go into look at energy rate management, basically it's the balance of rate of healing and rate of deterioration. And so a lot of people will be like, well, I did this treatment, I did that treatment, nothing helped. Well, it depends on how much that rate of deterioration is versus the rate of healing. And so if you looked at a body like a container like this, and you saw that this is a no symptom line. So if this energy level is above the no symptom line, there's no more symptoms. But most people, if they have low energy, they have low reserve, and the symptoms are a dominant part of their life. Okay, so that's what happens when you have rate of deterioration higher than the rate of healing. If they're even, then you'll notice that it fluctuates. This is where you hear people talk about, I have good days, I have bad days, but if there's an extra stress, they have a really bad day all of a sudden. So they're basically just maintaining where things are at. They have no reserve for extra stress or injuries or ailments, and their symptoms always fluctuate. And then the goal is to start getting your rate of healing faster than the rate of disease or deterioration. And so you have this increased energy here, small reserve, symptoms decrease. But this is where a lot of people, like, they went through something and they feel really good, but then all of a sudden they overdo it and they drop back down to somewhere over here. I don't know if anyone's
Yeah,
been
so
like
they're
that.
they're not getting strong enough. They're not quite over that hump yet, right?
Right. So they used any extra reserve because they felt good, and they did hiking or they did skiing or they did something, or they became a weekend warrior for that moment because they felt good. And then before you know it, they're crashed on the couch or in pain again. And then the once this is more than the rate of deterioration, then there's going to be the container is almost full, and then you have a fuller reserve, larger reserve. Symptoms are minimal. Eventually the goal is to have that rate of deterioration drop off, and that's what the maintenance of good health is, whether that's for the whole body or for just an individual organ or body part, right? So I like using that because it really shows people like, oh, if I'm over here and I want to do X, but I do too much, I might drop back down here. So we need to pace it so that the person can improve over time.
I can tell you, I can relate to every one of those categories, at some point in time. Yeah, when I was started in product healing, I was definitely at the low energy. I mean, I was a mess, but yeah, no, that was a great way to explain that. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
that was a quick first segment. I tell you what, we got about a minute to go.
Okay.
You did want to talk about healing on all levels.
Yes.
You want,
And I'll leave the segment with this, but basically when I look at this component here, if you think of your thoughts, your emotions, and your physical body as different frequencies or levels of healing, when you come back, we can definitely talk about how most people, when they have a disease, they mostly focus on this region. So
Hmm.
that's like they get surgery, nutrients, supplements, and other things like that to try to make things better. But they may not have addressed these parts, and that's how it relates to the case I had before from there.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I talk about thoughts and emotions all the time, because that's so critical. And, as yogis, we know we need the self mastery, mastery of the physical, the mental, emotional bodies. So I am a big advocate, big preacher of that, and not probably ad nauseum. People probably um, get tired of me saying it, but I do need to take a commercial break.
Sure.
I'm your host, Bob Kolazarek, and this is Greetings from the Ashram, and we're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be right back after this.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back. I am Bob Kolazarek, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Back with Dr. Chris No. Before the break, we were talking about thoughts and emotions, my favorite things. And these are really, my thoughts and emotions are something that I focus on daily. I am like a guardian of that mind, and I try to keep it still and positive and upbeat. It's effort. It's work to do.
It is, and I luckily we have a lot of tools in our arsenal to deal with these things. I hear a lot of different techniques and other specialties try to use that piece, but sometimes people are like, I don't understand why my thoughts and emotions, I'm thinking positively, I'm doing this, and it doesn't help. And so that sort of goes back to what we talked about earlier here regarding thoughts and emotions. A lot of people will have wonderful thoughts and emotions in this realm up here, right? But they may or may not in this realm up here, but there's sometimes something called an energetic blockage if this is an energy layer. So if you have thoughts, emotions, energy, and physical, this is highest frequency, this is lowest frequency or vibration. Most people just focus here. And this is where I was actually for a long time myself. Before Pranic Healing, I didn't believe in anything that I couldn't see. I was super skeptical, right? So I would, if someone talked about religion or spirituality or all that kind of stuff, I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I just focused on video games as a kid. But eventually I did do martial arts, and I really saw, I was I got bullied a lot as a child. So I used that to really help build my self-esteem and other things. And so I did that for over 12 years. And
Wow.
one of my last martial arts instructors, I was studying the art and philosophy of Jeet Kune Do, which is basically take a lot of different styles and figure out what works for you and then apply it in that situation that's most needed. So near the end of my career, he actually taught me how to energetically disable people while fighting them. So
Interesting.
standing about 20 feet away, I could do something. He just showed me. I didn't know the mechanism behind it, but I definitely saw the effect. They would get disoriented. The reaction time would slow down. They couldn't do certain things. You could take advantage of them, and then you zip them back up, basically. And then all the reflexes came back. And so that was my first introduction to the energy world of things that you can't see. And
It's
so I
like a
got really
Jedi mind trick almost, you know?
right. Except I
Sure.
didn't have to say
It's
anything.
like part of like psychic self-defense and things like that. It's really cool, you know. That
Mhm.
is that is really fantastic.
So after I got over that power trip, I realized that you could actually use it for healing. And so I looked at all these books, looked at different things, and originally I wanted to be a surgeon. So I even started scrubbing in the operating room at the age of 18. Back
Well,
then I could do those things. I would assist and help out in the operating room, and that's really what I wanted to do. But I came across Pranic Healing. I actually came across a book called Your Hands Can Heal You, written by Master Stephen Cohen and Eric Robbins. And the introduction in there was amazing, how Dr. Robbins, only after having 2 months of pranic healing, was able to really help a patient that had a lung infection, blood clots, fever, nausea, and yeast in the blood system. And that person
you know,
recovered in like a week.
that was the first pranic healing book that I bought too. The one from Master Co. One I learned about him from Tony Robbins event. So yeah, I know that book. I have that book.
Yeah, and ironically, it came out. It came out in January 2003, and that's why I found it in Borders Bookstore. If you remember when we had physical bookstores, and Master Co was coming for a book signing, and I met him. And I still didn't believe in pranic healing fully. I looked at other stuff, but eventually, I went to a healing clinic and a meditation on Twin Hearts group, and I was the only one. I went back during spring break of my college year, and something during that meditation of Twin Hearts said pranic healing is the one you're going to look into. And so eventually I took Pranic Healing. 70% of my life questions were answered in that class. I joke around. And then once I took Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul, back then called Soul Realizations, the other 30%. So everything's been a bonus since then.
Yeah, achieving oneness with the higher soul. I've taken that, and I think I have the book too. It's really a fascinating journey. It really is. Um, but the energy when you're doing the karate, did you feel the energy within
No,
you,
I
or did you just knew how to like disengage somebody?
he
Um,
just gave me the intention, basically used the intention. I didn't know any of the mechanisms. And so when I came across Pranic Healing, Master Choa Kaksui was an engineer and a businessman by trade. And so he really, even though I couldn't feel stuff, I could see the results. And so with that, I didn't know the mechanism. Master Choa taught the mechanisms so that even if I didn't know what I was doing, I could still produce a result. And so that's what really kept me over these 20 years is experiment, try to understand things, understand the principles. And that's sort of how I approach a lot of things, especially the business world when I started my medical practice. There's so much stuff out there. You don't know what's true or not true. I use discernment and try to understand it.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with meditation on Twin Hearts. Again, it was Master Co. He texted out his version, and the first time I did it, that divine energy comes through, and I must have just been ready. I mean, I was in a bad place, and I was praying for help, and it's like the switch went on, and I'm like, yeah, this is my mission, and this mission of this show is like the mission statement that I wrote that night, essentially, maybe a little bit more fine tuned. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's powerful. Like this is what you're going to do, and you've been doing it for 20 plus years. But so you had that experience, so that got you to change your mind from being a surgeon and going into.
Because once I learned about osteopathic medicine, which looked at the whole body rather than allopathic medicine or the MD looked at helping alleviating suffering through treating the disease and the symptoms. Osteopathic medicine tried to find the health in the patient. That was started in 1892 by Andrew Taylor Still. And so basically when I saw their philosophy by removing restrictions through manual touch, manual manipulation of the body, it was basically like pranic healing on the physical body. And if you ever look at the book, if you understand Theosophy, if you ever look in the book by A.E. Powell, in the etheric double. He actually says when you combine the use of energy and the vortexes or energy centers with the science of osteopathy, you produce amazing results. And so
I do have that book as well. I do have a copy of that. I have. It's a hard read for me, but explain osteopathy to me. Like I had Dr. Jason on. He's a naturopathic physician. You're an osteopathic physician. Both, I think, covering the mind and body. The whole person, the whole being, right? So, but I don't fully understand what an osteopathic physician does.
Osteopathic physician, like I said, is more holistic in their approach. They're one of 2 licensed medical physicians in the United States. Okay, so we have to go through medical school, undergrad, do our boards, and then do residency and internship on top of that, and then a fellowship if we want to. And so we can go into any specialty like primary care, emergency doctor, orthopedic, family medicine, all those type of things. My specialty was neuromusculoskeletal medicine and osteopathic manipulative medicine, which was focused mostly on studying anatomy and physiology, and then manipulating or working the anatomy so that you can restore the natural healing of the patient, even though I can prescribe and do surgery if I wanted to, going down those tracks.
Oh, you could. Okay. What about like natural herbs, and do you get involved in
We
like
don't as much, because a lot of us will still use what the journals and the scientific evidence and all those kind of things on top of it. So that is not as much of our focus when we go through medical school. We have a lot of pharmacology and all those type of things to understand. But the nice thing is we still relate it to the rest of the human body and look at it as a whole.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like for the muscles, how do you use the pranic healing? Do you use pranic healing when you're doing your physician work? Do
This,
you incorporate it
yeah,
any ways, or do you keep those 2 things separate?
no, I kept it separate at first when I started my medical practice, because I didn't know how people would take, one osteopathy. It wasn't as well known in my area. And then pranic healing. But eventually, because I could license to touch, and pranic healing, we're not allowed to touch the person unless you're licensed to. I was able to touch the person and then use the pranic healing techniques. You could actually feel the tissue changes underneath. So
All
I would
right.
have a lot of medical students rotate with me, and they would be new to pranic healing, but they would touch the areas or do whatever. And then I would do the pranic healing technique. And then all of a sudden the tissue would soften or the pain would go away on the patient.
So pretty rapid results, pretty successful. So you must be pretty well known. I have to believe that you have amazing track record with your clients. So you probably have, I would guess, a thriving practice at this point.
Yeah.
After
Well, COVID changed a number of things, but since I don't see as many patients in office, I don't see patients in office since COVID. All of mine are mostly remote, and we've shifted a lot of our business focus toward helping other business owners, particularly Pranic Healers or other solo practitioners, because I was struggling actually through my medical practice, not with helping people, but actually keeping up with the business side. They don't teach that part in medical school, how to keep up with the business, and so that was that was the biggest issue with that. And so accidentally, while trying to find better marketing techniques to bring in more leads, we came across a pricing perspective, and that really changed the scope of business and how we can help people.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit, but in addition to that, but you're still pretty busy with being an instructor. I was, I was doing my due diligence on the show, so I'm listening to your prior podcasts. I'm looking at your bios, and I'm looking at your Facebook page. Did I see that you were teaching psychotherapy now?
Yep, I teach Pranic Healing Level 1, Advanced Pranic Healing, and Pranic Psychotherapy. And so I would have a busy practice all week, and then I would go out and travel and teach on the weekends on top of that. I think at the height of everything, it was like 20 classes in a year, plus travel to all the other events, and then seeing patients in office. So
let me ask you, how do you manage your time, and how do you manage your energy levels? What's your self-care routine? Because, we see you're going all the time, like a lot of us are, right? We're just busy. So how do you stay fresh and replenished?
well, it's evolved over time, we'll say, because as the body gets older, the youthfulness of going affects things. But the biggest thing is keeping up with the meditations that we learned, especially meditation with hearts, self-healing, doing energetic hygiene of what we call it. So most people take showers and other stuff like that, and they keep themselves healthy on the surface, but also energetically, we have to keep ourselves healthy. And so if it wasn't for those pieces, it'd be a lot harder for me to definitely move on.
Yeah, physical. Because I'm, this year's a big milestone year for me. I'm hitting 60. It's like that
I
you
hear
start.
60 is the new 40. So
Yeah, so the physical, aspect of it, go, go, go. I think the pranic healing for me has just changed my life in such a way. I dropped 50 pounds when I did the certification program and working on my diabetes, and I never had any improvement over almost 20 years until I started pranic healing. But that just made me physical much better, and at
well, this
60.
is the amazing thing. And when we go back to this original graph, most people will only, like I said, address the physical in here. And so that's like you change your diet, you do supplements, you might get surgery, other things like that. But many people, or if you just have positive thinking in this realm, they sometimes think, well, how come it's not getting better? And this is where pranic healing fits in, because there's like a thin layer between, say, the things you can't feel, like thoughts and emotions. There's a thin energy layer right here. And so if there's what we call energetic blockages in here, it's a lot harder for the rest of energy to float down through all this and get to your physical body, which your physical body needs. It needs life energy for self-recovery. And so it sounds like once you remove these blockages in here, the energy could actually flow through, and all your positive thoughts and emotions could also actually come down as well. And to help your
Yeah,
body
and
recover.
going through that process, it's amazing how many layers of emotional baggage are stuck in there, and how far you could trace it back to. It's really amazing. But I never realized just how emotionally stunted I was.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You
this
know,
is why I really liked Pranic Healing, because it addresses all these levels and also removes any blockages within this realm, so that the physical body can definitely develop. And then the physical world stuff like diet and physicians and all those can address the medical side, and everything works together.
yeah. So yeah, I love that explanation. But yeah, I've experienced it a lot. So. It's just been amazing, pranic healing. It really is. I mean, I'm a lifer. I haven't been in it nearly as long as you, but it changes lives, and it's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's time to take another break, so when we come back, we'll talk about your business model and the pricing and structures and everything. I'm excited to talk about that. So, like I said, I got to take a commercial break. I'm Bob Kolazaric, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We'll be right back with Dr. Chris.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bob Kolazarek, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We're back with Dr. Chris now, and we're going to talk about a little about your business model and how you're helping people with your what is Power Up Your Pricing program,
Yep.
which I have, and I'm loving that program. I already have to tweak some things, but you know,
Yeah.
people, I just have to say, if you want to buy a package from me, buy it now. Its prices are going up.
Yeah. He's learning some things. So, but it's better overall. And this is why I want to explain this. It's not about as you're going through the course, you realize it's not just about raising prices or even changing prices. It's about giving you the option or ability to do that. And I wouldn't have been able to even address that sciatica case if I had done the old model. The old model for me was, like everyone, you set an appointment, you try to fill your schedule, you bring someone in, you try to fit them in the next time. Maybe you might do a package of something so that they can go through the whatever. And that business model did not work as a medical practice when you're all by yourself. There's a lot more overhead. In my overhead as a medical doctor was more than a lot of people's salaries almost. So that old model didn't work. And I did that for 7 years, just going by. So if you actually look at the old business model, like the energy infographic, if you just change this instead of rate of healing, that's your revenue and this is your expenses. A lot of people only stay here and when they're starting their own practice. And that's because we really love our skill set that we developed, but we don't know all the other aspects of business. And so we're just trying to do, and we burn ourselves out and keep on going without realizing that there's other ways of doing things. And so when we get a little profit, what happens? We buy more of the business, or we think we're doing better, and then we drop ourselves back into here until it's too late again. And so it's good to get those boosts of business and slowly increase your energy, or in this case, profits, so that you can spend more time helping people. And so that was a real big turning point for me. And I'm just hoping a lot of people don't have to suffer all those years I did as a solo business owner to be able to help more people. Because that was the goal of starting my own practice, was to help people. But if my body's stressed out all the time and I barely can get people in or attend to their needs to the full maximum that they need it, then no one's benefiting in the end.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I know a lot of people that have been taking this workshop, and everybody I've talked to about it swears by it. I know Luis Rivera, he was on my show a few weeks ago before Christmas. He was raving about it, and I actually did see him doing a testimonial on the workshop playback. So,
wonderful.
yeah, and other people. So it's and with the amount of people that coming into pranic healing as a profession, I want to help get the word out to them too, because they can come out of the gate much stronger than a lot of us who just kind of like try to figure it out on the way. Right.
Yeah.
So,
figuring out definitely is, like in spirituality, it's you can figure it out, but it takes time. Same with business. You can figure out, but it also takes time. And like I said, it took me 7 years to figure something out. And then I had a client come through, and after she went through, I had a year of business. And after doing that, 3 clients, I think, equaled what she would have had to do 46 new clients for. So, but she was able to help these people, and they kept on buying over and over again because they benefited from it. And we hear a lot of these success stories from people that actually start changing the mold of how they approach things, because the overall goal is really to help people. And once you have that extra bandwidth, that extra energy, that extra profit, now you can start making the practice yourself, making your business according to your uniqueness. And as you went through the course, you probably saw that it's about the value you bring, and then translating that into a way that the client sees value.
Well, I like how you started it out with the 4 C's, right?
Yes. By Dan Sullivan.
That really resonated a lot with me. For, to start out, you need to have a commitment, right? To do your business and to do it well. And I was relating it to like me getting ready to do this show, right? Because it's like not anything. It was outside my comfort level. I don't know, when you start to get involved in something that is outside your comfort level, I tell you, all the negative thought forms, all the self-sabotaging behavior, all the old programs, they come to the forefront real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually the beauty of owning a business, if you can handle that, because a business, when you own your business, it's like looking in a mirror. And so sometimes we can put things off and do that, but if you own a business, you have to take care of these things. And so it's one of the fastest ways of actually self-discovery and self-improvement. It shows your values on multiple levels. Um, and that's why we want to help more business owners that are heart-centered and good-hearted, because as more service providers are able to take care of themselves, as humanity shifts and changes, they're going to need the support of those service providers. And if those service providers can't take care of these people, then that support of people improve as they go through things, as they make realizations and they progress, it's going to be bottlenecked. And so that's why the goal is to help all these people thrive in their business so they can support more people. And then that's sort of really how you start raising the consciousness of humanity. As people improve, the people supporting them improve, and those people that are doing the supporting, their lives improve and can help more people.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, talking about changing the consciousness of humanity, but yeah, you're right. I mean, as our spirit grows stronger, our light grows stronger, right? And then as we light up ourselves, we light up the people around us, and then it's the light of the soul, right? And then there become a tipping point as we continue to grow, and everybody's light contributes to the overall planetary consciousness,
Right.
right? So that's why it's important. Like one by one, everybody turn their lights on and let's go. And you raise the consciousness that way. And I like the way the shamans think about it. In terms of like a planetary dream, we all contribute to the planetary dream. So yeah, it starts with pranic healing, but I think pranic healing is kind of the gateway to spirituality, because our energy body is what? The energy of the soul, right? It's our spirit, our energy body is our soul that's incarnated into the body. So yeah, it's quite fascinating, and we can go pretty deep on that on a spiritual level. But I don't know if we wanted to talk more about your pricing, but yeah, I love the way how you went from commitment to courage, and that gap is the fear, because I experienced that, like coming out and being a public speaker. So I'm like, yeah, you're right on with that, and then the capability, I still don't know if I have the capability. I think I'm getting some good feedback. So, but then you get the confidence, and then I'm getting the confidence with it. And, I do, and talking about the values, what's your value, and I start thinking about that for myself. I am a certified pranic psychotherapist. I am, up leveled several times on my Hatha yoga practice. I do know what I'm talking about. I'm very good at what I do, and I just really need to break that down. So, but yeah, it's very insightful.
Yeah. And we learn a lot. A lot of people will learn techniques to like help the mindset. But the thing with the pricing piece that we found out is once you actually like commit to helping someone at a certain price, then the commitment's like deeper, and then you actually get the capability instead of hoping that you have the capability, and that builds that confidence on top of it, which is why I start with pricing for a lot of things. Even before you start a business, just use your skill and just start charging once you feel comfortable to start charging. There's a progression that we talk about in other courses.
Yeah, and the different values, like some of the tools of the trade, we got some pretty expensive crystals, right? You got all kind of crystals, and that's a big investment. You got
Right.
little disintegrators, you got different things, you got huge extractors. We're talking thousands and thousands of dollars just invested in
In your
crystals, right?
trade. Yep. So
Um,
you once again going back to the original thing, you feel better, but if you aren't pricing things, that can go sideways really fast, right? If you're investing and all of a sudden you drop here, that's not going to help anyone. So knowing how to keep up your rate of healing, in this case your revenue, and moving accordingly with that, that's an important piece.
Yeah, but that's my takeaway from the course too, and like what's my value, I start thinking about, but yeah, all these crystals, in the several years it took to get to the certification, like you talk about that. So that all gets into it, in terms of like, what is my value? What is my worth?
Yeah. And that's the biggest piece with the mindset. Once that unlocks, then everything else becomes easier. And so a lot
Yeah.
of us will overdo it, but we don't have the value piece. And so my self-worth. And so that was my issue for many, many years. I kept on overdoing things to try to prove my value to someone. But if they don't value it, they're not going to value it. And I wish I knew that sooner.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, it's fun. So I can't wait to get back to more of the course. I don't think you can give me the answer that we were talking on the break or before the show about how far I got to, and like, okay, my package, pricing, but it's really interesting, and I do honestly love the way that you present. It's engaging. It's just like you're talking now. It's just no hype. No, I'm enjoying it. Is what I'm saying. It's just really
Great.
good, and I highly recommend it.
Good.
Definitely.
Yes, that course is what we call power per pricing. That's the one you're talking about. So yeah, it really changed a lot for a lot of people, and it's really simple. So,
how long have you been doing that?
Power per pricing, we started officially in 2021. We released on December 2021.
Oh,
so
you did say that. Yeah. Yep. So a couple years, and it's going gangbusters. And I think it's just going to continue to grow, because I didn't realize, it's not just for Pranic Healers, right? It's correct. For entrepreneurs or coaches.
The other thing, I had when I tested that the first time, because of these concepts came out in 2019 when I first started playing around with it. I tested on a tutor, and she did the main thing. I'm charging this much an hour. I think it was like $40. And then if you buy a package of this, I'm going to discount you 10% or 25%. So it turned out to be 35, and she was overworked and doing all this kind of stuff. And we got results for her. In less than 5 months, she raised her rates 293% and didn't even realize it, and had happier customers. So
yeah, and she's happier and living a better life that she wants to do, right? More free time for herself. And so you got a lot of testimonials. You have it. I'm sorry. Time's going by so quick. So we only got about a minute left. So I do want to, let people know how to get in touch with you, so we could put up, some of your stats there. What do we have? So on Twitter.
Yep. So X, I'm mostly active on X. That's more the business side. If you wanted the Facebook side, that's Prana Physician. Power per Pricing is there as well. And I'm on the other programs as well. You can just like Instagram or all that. It's just at Dr. Chris No or at pranaphysician.com. So those are the easiest ways to get a hold of me. And you can always DM or email from those as well.
Okay. And then, and here's a snap of your
webpage for Power per Pricing. Yeah.
So
a lot of us, this is words of my clients, right? When I was first testing it, but we love to do something, but we feel guilty about charging it. And, we can help a lot more people if we allow ourselves to. And so,
but I think that even if you feel guilty about it, I think that's more of a Pranic Healing thing. Because like you said earlier, we're all heart-centered people. It's like, we just want to be so giving, but we also need to keep a roof over our head and food on the table as well. But
I thought that too, but I talked to a lot of people, and it's beyond our modality. It's fascinating.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, a lot of heart-centered people. That's one of my missions, is to try to create more heart-centered men, because we have a lot of erotic women out there that are looking for heart-centered men, and unless you're a yogi, it seems like as a man you just you're not quite there. You're all up in your head, instead of in your heart. So but Dr. Chris, it's been a pleasure. We're about out of time here, but it's been great having you. I really appreciate your program and your expertise, and everything that you've been through in Pranic Healing, and coming to the show and sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So it's time for another break. I am your host, Bob Kolazarek, and this is Greetings from the Ashram, and we're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'll be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bob Kolazarek, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Really appreciate Dr. Chris. He is amazing, super intelligent, super engaging. Just his workshop is also off the hook. I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to get back to finish that. What we didn't have a chance to go over is on January 9th at 9 p.m., he's having a event called Rest and Recharge. I think I have a QR code. I forgot to give you all a heads up, but I'll leave it up there for a minute. If you all want to grab your phones and take a shot of that QR code, Rest and Recharge. It's next one is January 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And then it's every other Tuesday. So that'll get you to the Zoom registration link, and he'll give a short talk about meditation on twin hearts, and then also do meditation on twin hearts. And if you've watched any of my previous episodes, I probably talk about meditation on twin hearts probably about every show. I am a big advocate for that. Like we were talking earlier in the program, that meditation on twin hearts first time kind of like hit something in me and changed my life. And for Dr. Chris, he knew that pranic healing was for him, and that is the signature meditation for pranic healing. So highly recommended, and it's a great way to recharge. It really is. So all right, so we could take that. So highly recommend it. And next week I'm going to have Hangama Fazeli. She's a PhD. She's a senior architect and head of design inception. And I know what y'all thinking. Bob, what does an architect have to do with spirituality and healing? And no, I'm not going back to my elevator days. But I am there to consult with her if necessary. So elevator companies, beware. I got my eyes on you. So, but in addition to being a PhD and a senior architect, Hangama is also the co-founder of PranaWorld.net. And she co-founded Prana World in 2011. The website was started as a small hub, like a blog really, in order to create content and introduce pranic healing or hatha yoga to as many people as possible. Like-minded soul, we're all on the same mission. But this website grew along the years, and it's become a really well-known source related to pranic healing, spirituality, and healthy lifestyle in general. So she is an amazing woman. Has been living in Malaysia, but is coincidentally enough currently residing in Philadelphia, which is my neck of the woods. So we were actually able to get in person for lunch, with her and her husband and myself. Outside of the Zoom world, we were able to connect, and that's beautiful. So seems like Zoom's been pretty much the order of the day. But really, that made me start thinking about what can I do to increase my self-care a little bit? What kind of tweak can I make? And realize that I don't get out into nature enough. So I need to get out more. That's one of the things that I'm working on adjusting. Being in nature is so important for so many different reasons. So anyway, I just wanted to know and ask you guys, what are you doing? Any small adjustments? I know it's the new year. I'm not a big New Year's resolution guy. I'm a continual improvement kind of guy. So what kind of self-care routines are you going to change? A little more meditation. Again, if you want to do meditation, go to the Rest and Recharge with Dr. Chris. Highly recommend it. Like I said, I can't say enough about meditation on Twin Hearts. One of the highest forms of self-care, in my opinion. And it does help us to keep creating a little stronger light for ourselves, doing our inner work. It's just, I can't say enough. So join Dr. Chris Tuesday night, 9:00. It doesn't hurt to keep an open mind and try something new. I was never a big meditation guy or anything, but I did. And boy, I tell you what, 5 years later, I'm a totally different person, living a totally different lifestyle, doing things completely different than I ever used to do. So give it a shot. So that's it for me tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, I'm Bob Kolzarek, and you've been watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Namaste, everyone.
This has been Greetings from the Ashram with host Bob Kolzarek. Through meaningful conversations and practical insights, this show invites you to explore the endless possibilities for personal growth, healing, and spiritual awakening. Tune in each week to discover how these practices can bring balance and harmony to your life, making it a true journey of self-discovery. Fridays, 7 p.m. on the Bold Brave TV network.